like, the idea I had with field trips to increase.
They do
like,
some.
over to here,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
like often, so that we don't lose that continuity of having.
We'll probably try and do it once a week at the least, but yeah. They'll probably do, either I'll come to them, I'll go to them, or they'll come to us. But yeah, I'll work with Jen or Jessica about it. Definitely. Okay, thanks, that'd be great. They're saying, I think, no, I don't think we will. So we'll call our regular board meeting for April to order at 7:20. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Ari made the motion in a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Scott. All in favor? And then we've got the meeting minutes from the March meeting. Motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
All right, Scott, and a second from Liz. All right, any comments, corrections? If none, all in favor? Okay, great. Motion passed. All right, back to director's report. All right, here we go.
You finish your precatory remarks.
Yeah.
Now what
Now let's go
happens?
this. Let's see, so programs coming up. The Easter party obviously is coming up on Sunday, or excuse me, on Saturday. Saturday, not Sunday. Teen nights tomorrow, book sharing club, book discussion group, our homeschool curriculum show and tell is going to happen on Tuesday, the 22nd, doing origami lanterns on the 23rd. We're doing a native gardening presentation with Chris Ferraro on the 26th, trivia night on the 27th. And then on May 13th, we're doing a homeschool class, part of our homeschool series, bike and stranger safety with the Rensselaer County Sheriff's Department. They're going to be here and they're going to have a trooper car, and so the kids can take a look and explore. So it should be fun. They'll be, the kids will love it, I'm sure. Weekly programs, the crafting circle is still going strong. We had a good group last Monday and the same for the Monday before. So you can see also that our the health class, last week's homeschool class was our health class, and we had a pretty decent number of people, and the man who came was a physician's assistant, and he said he'd be willing to come and do some stuff for adults as well. So I'm going to be hoping to work with him and see. He talked about doing a monthly med check-in time where people can just come in and just say, these are the meds I'm on. Can they I don't remember how we talked about it, but I don't know if it was contraindications, because that should be, it was more like just making sure that they knew what they were taking and when they were taking it. And, oh, this is maybe making you dizzy, you need to go to the doctor, like when to recommend going to the doctor. And so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to, but we're going to give it a try. So yeah, so those were, and our tech help programs have been going really well. Well, no, excuse me, no. This month it didn't happen. No, but we actually did. She left early that day, and we had somebody who came in and was like, oh, I just missed her by 10 minutes. But
Turn off the Lego club.
yes, that was a very, very big and long program for poor Jody to run. So Alden is supposed to be volunteering and starting to volunteer. Things have been a little screwy with our schedules and stuff, but I want him, he's gonna be starting to do Lego Club for Jody so that she doesn't have to worry about that while she's working. So hoping that he'll be starting that soon. In terms of circulation, you can see the stats, we're down a little bit this month. But I honestly don't expect it to stay that way. I think we'll probably be back to normal, continuing going up. So, and this is just a physical items. This is not including the others stuff because I only get those reports quarterly. Yeah, visits to SML, the host. So I just did a poll of people whose library cards have expired. So I'll be sending out a mailing in the next couple of weeks for that. We've added 15 adults, 1 out of system adult, and 6 kids to the patron roles in the past 3 months. So that's pretty good, I think. This month I withdrew 131 books, primarily adult fiction, because we did not have enough room on our shelves anymore, and we hadn't done that in a while. So that was time for that. We did add not a huge amount of stuff, but a decent amount this year. In terms of other activities, staff meeting on the 21st, we were all there and Jen was able to come and teach us how to use our new AED. So everyone should be familiar with that now, and we got to practice, and I think that everyone at least is now familiar with it, and hopefully if anything ever happens, we'll be able to help. I hope. I attended an e-content advisory committee meeting, DA meeting on the 4th. Okay, so children's room construction updates. We had a walkthrough for the architects and any contractors who are interested in the project on the 31st. We had 3 contractors attend, and we did get bids from all 3 of them. And they were the only ones who, out of everybody else, and we did I think we asked 5 different contracting companies to, or I gave them 5 different names of people. So, we had the walkthrough, that went well. I met with
three bid, 1 declined, and the other bid we got, the person didn't count, right? So,
right,
Yeah.
right. I met with John Laporta regarding the scope of work that he's going to do for the new heat pumps that are part of this project. He is going to remove the furnace and the existing ductwork, and we were talking out a plan on how to do the heat pumps, how things are going to run, where the wires and pumps are all going to go. He at first was originally telling me that the manufacturers weren't getting enough materials out for supply companies, but I guess he said he'll be able to get the equipment that he quoted it for. So they just got a delivery, I guess. I don't know. So should be good. I met with Owen Casaba, our town. What is he? What do we call him? A code enforcement officer. Thank you. And we went over the permit process, and he looked at the project, and he's going to, he has the application. We do not need to pay an application fee because we're a nonprofit entity. So that's going to be waived. And he said he'll get back to us soon he said it's pretty straightforward. So he doesn't see any problem with the application to begin with. He also is going to look at this room and tell me what the maximum number of the occupancy is. We'll see if that actually happens. So hopefully we'll get those numbers too.
He's got to find enough people to stick in the room and figure it out.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we've fit a lot of people in this room, probably not under regulations. And we met last Thursday as a group to discuss and go over the bids for the project for the children's room construction, and it was voted that we will accept MR2 construction. And Mr. Mike Robick, who is part of that construction company, so I sent him a letter of intent about this decision and also sent the letter to the architects as well. I did hear back from him after I sent this report over, and he said he's very excited to work with us and will be getting me more paperwork and documents soon. So that will be starting that process.
Is Megan going to notify the other two folks?
You know what? I have to ask her about that because I completely forgot. Like, I'll do that in a minute. The other interesting thing that's been happening over this past month is I've been working with Debbie Fleming about, she's from Rensselaer County, and she is one of the coordinators for the summer food program for Rensselaer County. And we have decided to try and we've been given approval for the library to be a non-congregate food distribution site. So the kids in camp will still get their food there, but any kids who are not in camp can come to the library and get food 2 times a week. So we'll do distribution. I think we said I think it's gonna be Tuesdays and Fridays, but I can't remember. Nothing's set in stone yet. So, but we'll be giving them 7 meals a week, breakfast and lunch. So any child under the age of 18. And the only thing that's gonna be different is that I will need to have a sign up, and we'll have to know who's doing it so that there's no overlap between who's getting food during the week here and over there. Like, they don't want anyone double dipping, basically. But all of those kids from camp could get summer or the weekend meals as well. So we can try and make that work too. So I might need some help with that over the summer, like for volunteers, just to help with all of the food. And our refrigerator probably is not going to be big enough, so I'm going to reach out to For Fat Fowl and to the town and see if we can't use some of their refrigerators that are not really being used all that much. And we did get approval from the state to do that as well. So they said it's totally fine if we have the food offsite and then bring it over in coolers and stuff. So
You said it would be meals for 3 meals a day for 7 days.
two
No,
meals, 2 meals a day, breakfast and lunch. And we're gonna try and run it for the full 9 weeks, so the whole summer, which would mean in August, actually, kids can get the meals. We'll have probably an increase in meals because the summer camp won't be running. So I think it would be, I'm hoping this will be a good opportunity for everybody in town to really get some, to fill that need if we can.
You can probably reach out to Anita and see if any of the food pantry volunteers might be willing to help.
Oh, that would be
with food
great.
Distribution or something too.
Okay, yeah, that would be fantastic.
Are you going to put it at specific hours? that they can pick up?
Yeah, there would be a specific pickup time.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Yeah, that they require. Yeah, no, they would require us to do that too through the state. So they have to know when they can come and get their stuff. But all of those details are going to be hopefully figured out within the next few months. And then to move on with technology, even though I said it was going well. So I met with Michelle St. Louis from Cornell Cooperative Extension. She's the one who does our free tech help program. And she came up with a questionnaire for she's looking to bring Senior Planet technology courses to Steventown for us. And so she has a questionnaire that I was able to bring over to the seniors, which was fantastic because they were very excited about the offerings though she was asking about, and they gave them all back filled out. So I'm waiting for her to kind of tally up all those things and see what she can bring to the town. I think it looked like the most things were people wanted computer classes, but there was also an option for like a one-off seminar on how to use your cell phone and all that kind of fun stuff. So and most people said they would where to have it was here at the library. So that was also good. So I'll get back to you guys on that. And I think that was pretty much it. And of course, I left all my stuff at my mom's house today, so I don't remember what else. I don't think I had anything else I needed to go over. I'm pretty sure that was it. Unless there's any questions.
All right, thank you, Kim.
No problem.
Okay, so Richard provided, so in the packet, we have our, email and budget versus actual. I also have, I'm pretty much driving everybody nuts, so, if you want to pass along. So there's the balances, and this is our, income expense history. This is a little bit more relevant when we talk about the 414, they don't hand it out now. So an explanation, so the balances, so the CD was closed out, this is closed out the CD. And he transferred that all into the money market regular savings. What I asked him to then do though, to avoid confusion, especially as we are about to deal with the construction project, was to transfer back in the $30,000 that we took out of special projects into that account, so that we see it there. So right now, that's what you're seeing there, and I asked them to break out what we had earmarked for each area. So in the overall special projects savings account, 10,000 of the dollars in there is earmarked for painting, 15,000 for repairs, and we have 30,000 available in special projects. And we'll be going back to that, as we talk about the construction project. You'll see the Zook account has now been closed out, so that money has been spent, that's no longer here. And so we have not really finished divvying back out the money from the CD.
Oh, back to where it
Right,
was,
right,
yes.
And he did deposit money into the business savings because we did pull from that for our overdraft, so, so you'll see like right now, like the scholarship account has $3,400, but there's more than that should be in there from the CD.
Right.
So we do still need to make some transfers.
Speaking of scholarship, that's what I forgot. Scholarship application is finished. I'm going to have it printed and then put up on the website. The website's been having issues these past few days. So as soon as that's up, I'll let everybody know.
Okay,
But I have the date that they will be due on May 23rd is when they'll be due for the kids here. So once we get them, then I will distribute them out. The way we do it is they're all anonymous, so we clear everybody's names off of and then I put them up to a Google folder. Everyone has access. You have a certain, like a week to read through and then give me your vote. Then we go from there.
thanks. Kim.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions or things to discuss on the treasurer report? So why don't we start with the committee reports, fundraising, so. Anything to talk about?
Oh, well, actually, yeah, this would be the time, can just have fish around, here, can give it this, right? I think we actually have, so I have but, oh, you have them, yeah,
Oh, they're in the packet, I think.
Is there?
I didn't realize you did, okay, anyway, so the question, oh no, I don't have it.
That's okay.
Okay, now. Okay, so these were the questions, that were compiled, so if everyone can take a look and see if any of them jump out at you as too easy or ambiguous.
4. The tennis question is
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Pretty easy. I don't know anything about tennis, so I didn't know it, but.
Oh, I just saw everyone who knows about it.
Yeah,
Put
that's like
notice.
the official thing.
Actually, if you're looking for a sports question, you can ask something about curling, that's a game probably no one knows about.
Yeah,
That's the front, yeah,
Yeah, that would,
or maybe you can find something for cricket. Which isn't
okay.
too popular around here. I'm just thinking of different sumo.
I
you
think we
probably
also
will find a
have,
question.
there is one other sports question. Oh, it's a tiebreaker question about the most points scored in an NBA game. But we did have a question at one point that we didn't end up on here, but that was about like a local person who ended up was on a MLB team or something. But
oh,
anyway, we can-
the fate,
Oh,
Elroy face.
Oh,
was processed.
we did that on the one.
we might have.
Okay.
BMW question's probably pretty easy too.
Which one?
BMW.
But you want some that are, warming people up, right?
You could ask when Alexa. But I don't think that that's something like the average adult is gonna know.
Okay, I learned such a crazy trivia thing I shared with Jen, it's not crazy, but I think a good
good
one,
one, yeah.
who wrote the song, Boy Named Sue?
Wasn't that Johnny Cash?
You didn't write it.
He didn't write it.
No, it's such a good, I think we should just do it.
Yeah.
Which, I'll tell you on the trivia.
Okay. You know what? I have Google.
Wanna get? Shel Silverstein.
Oh, I knew that.
Every-
Yes, I
says
did
it
know
to me,
that.
like, oh, that was just like a weird thing, so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So I guess if people have suggestions, we have 4, I guess Richard is gonna send some, but we have 4 slots. So if anyone has any,
was Scott gonna do some like they did last time?
those are included in here. He's not doing he just came up with questions related to music. They weren't.
Oh, he's not gonna do like the
playing,
play and
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Which I didn't really. But if none of the other ones jump out as too easy. Then we can just ask for people to send in a couple suggestions for. The open slot. Or too hard, I guess is the other.
Are the local ones like 100% confirmed? I'm always worried. that
Well, the
no,
post
it's
office
actually-
one is Sarah's house, so that's, well, actually, I guess that doesn't mean it's confirmed.
First post office, I just worry, like, is that the first one? Cause also there was post office like at Louise's, right?
Yeah.
I don't wanna be embarrassed on
No, I-
local trivia items, that's the only thing.
Jericho Hollow, that's confirmed, that's well.
Oh, well, that must be true.
As I was saying, I was like, I don't think this is gonna pass. But I read it somewhere else too, I think it's actually on this Town of Steventown
Okay,
website.
Yeah.
It comes right up when you Google.
Okay, yeah, so
The only bird that can fly backwards, I thought might be hummingbirds.
Yeah.
People, is that too easy?
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it, but
Okay. Well, anyway,
I didn't know it, like, after I saw the answer, I was like, oh, yeah, of course, but like, I was like, fly backwards.
okay, well then maybe just those few that kind of count as the
if I knew it, I figured it was too easy. That was my standard.
Okay, so if anyone has any suggestions, please email us in the next. Shortly.
That's right. It's coming up really soon, isn't it?
Yeah, and Sarah's working on the slideshow, so we do need to finalize the question. But I don't think there's anything else to discuss. Amazing.
So, just so, there's 4 tables of 6 so far and 2 tables of 4. So far, nobody has put in a special dietary request. I just bought a single ticket to check on that, so.
Yeah, I saw.
Came through. So it does work, that they should come through if anybody puts it in there. So what's your, like, what's the I know there's a meeting Monday. Right,
Mhm.
but like, for buying food and all that kind of stuff. like,
You know, Marion's
gonna-
plan for buying food,
Okay.
because that's,
She actually said, oh, there, hold on. It's over there.
yeah, I don't think.
Thursday, I feel like they were gonna go, she
Okay.
had a crazy schedule, so
Okay.
that's why. Richard left the card here, cause they were
Okay.
gonna go at
Yeah.
some. Her and Sarah, I think, are going to the restaurant depot, I wanna say it's Thursday, is what they came up with. But like, she was looking at her calendar, cause she's got so many different things going on.
So I think we need to get out an email, like for the weekend and then probably another one, towards middle of the week or something. And then also a bunch of stuff on Facebook. So I don't know if you want Sadie to do that or if you just wanna put stuff on there from now, but,
I would
Okay.
guess too, like with it being vacation week, people might be like waiting to see if they
Yeah.
over budget on vacation and then
Yeah.
Easter and
yeah,
just getting through that. I know like that's
yeah.
one step at a time.
I just know, I mean, it would be helpful to get a better
Oh, yeah.
idea
Yeah.
for
How many
everything we're
people
gonna
is
buy.
that total?
32.
32.
Hmm.
Okay. Do you want me to make out the email for the MailChimp and just do a blast?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
just a.
I can do that tomorrow. I'll send that out tomorrow, and then on Saturday, or excuse me, on Sunday, I have another email scheduled. And I'll put the registration link in that email,
Okay,
because that's just like the, what's happening this week.
yeah,
So I'll
Okay.
put that in that, so. Let me see. Email for weekend. And I'll talk to Sadie about getting and doing a Facebook campaign type thing going for the trivia night. Facebook Friday night trivia night reminder.
I mean, I know it's a little obnoxious, but I'd almost do something almost every day. I mean, I think we just gotta. Keep up the attention of it, you know. Scott Minnick is gonna volunteer to do help with the, tallying answers. My mom was out, he's in, he's tagged in.
You should.
But she said she'll bake extra cookies and.
Okay,
I did ask for a couple of volunteers. From high school, to come over. So they're, the guidance counselor has a volunteer program down there, and so she. Basically assured there'll be reputable teenagers to come over and help set up. You know what I mean, versus just any showing up. But if there's a couple interested, I'll know,
Okay,
you know. within-
great. Okay. Is there anything else you guys need from the rest of us at this point?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
right
so
now.
after Monday.
Yeah.
there might be more.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, anything else on that? Building renovation, I think Kim pretty much covered all of that. What I guess we should mention now is. What, something that came up as we were talking about the 414, was. The thought that we should use the funds in the special projects line right now that we have saved. For our match, rather than doing a separate campaign, fundraising campaign
okay.
for that. And I think, Scott, your reasoning, and speak for yourself, but was that, you know, it shows that we have saved up for this, that this has been something that, you know, we've been fiscally responsible to be able to do, so that, you know, with the funds we saved, the funds we received as the donation, and the grant. Do you want to say anything further on?
No, that's just my thought.
Mhm.
I don't know whether people feel that way. I just think it may be easier to sell that.
It makes sense to me. I mean, we've been saving it for a special project. This is a special project. I mean, to me, it makes sense. So,
And that's why I wanted to just see what we have in there, you know, I wanted to see that breakout to be able to know. Because that will. You know, bring that down significantly, but it won't wipe it out, so. Okay. Financial and bookkeeping, Kim, have you heard from
Oh.
Patty?
So yeah, she said that the stuff that the account, so I sent everything over to the accountants that Patty had given us. And they then were able to come up with over 30 or maybe it was 20, over 20 different journal entries in order for us to then update everything and make the books match what has been in our taxes for the past 10 years.
Mhm.
So I talked with them, I started making the journal entries. There were some issues with accounts not being available that the accountants said we should use. So they have said to me, I was walking through some of the questions with them and they were like, do you just want us to just make these entries for you? And I said, I think that would be the best thing to do at this point. So they are going to make all the entries. They're going to make everything match and we can just move on from there. So I think that that's the best way to do it at this point. They're the ones who, it has to match our tax records. They're the ones who are doing the depreciation records, all the different depreciations and I have all the bookkeeping in terms of knowing which account was closed and when and all that other stuff. So it all matches everything that we gave to them. So I have not heard back from them since last time I spoke to them, which was Monday. I spoke to them on Monday. So I'll keep you updated though, but I think that this will just be able to just get it all taken care of and and then once this is finished, everything will be completely up to date. And there won't be anything else that's showing this we don't have.
Okay,
So,
and did you send their thing back to Patty?
yes,
Okay, did you
Yeah.
hear anything from her?
she said everything
I looked it
looks
up.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard to determine if it was exactly.
No, she was
exactly what
totally,
she-
yeah, no, she said she read through all of the journal
Okay.
entries and everything and was like, she said it looked good to her. She did have a suggestion about what we should do with talking about it though. So I sent her the journal entries. She said I would add that it should be noted on the current year's fiscal reports that entries were made to the fund balance from prior periods. Not sure where the financial statements are published or if anyone other than the board receives a copy, but it should be noted wherever they are published. So we'll have to make those and I can add that to the documents that get put on the website.
Okay. Cause Richard had prepared a balance sheet, but I said, I don't think
It's not ready
yeah,
yet.
we're not ready yet, so.
No, it's not.
um, Yeah, okay,
So that will hopefully be fixed and up to date soon.
okay. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
But please, never again.
What's that?
But please never again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think what we need to be able to do, what I would like to know from this year too. We haven't counted for a while, or we haven't talked about fund balances at the end of the year
Mhm,
each time, and I think that has been something that we needed to look at.
right,
And that was previously how we were funding some of the special project stuff, so. It was putting in the fund balance the end of the year, right? And we would
Right.
Put that into there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can definitely go back over that again later.
okay. Okie dokie, so moving on to 414. Scott, you wanna summarize what we've been discussing and where we're at?
Yeah, take a look at the timeline, which is in your packages. Which sort of parse out what happens when. The good news is we've done this before. We've got all the forms, the ones we don't have, they're available to us. I've basically done them all. So the real issue ends up being, I mean, in terms of what we need to do near term, we'll need to pass a resolution to move forward with it. And we need to pass a resolution to raise the tax cap because apparently it now if you go over the 2%, the library can go over the 2% tax cap, which is provided in state finance law. They just need a resolution to do it. And so we were talking about probably having a shortfall, which we want to make up. And to do that, we have to go with the tax cap. I think we're getting about $94,000. We've been playing with the number somewhere around $14,000 to $15,000 in terms of initial ask. It's anticipated that we would do this on an annual basis, or perhaps every other year. Upper Hudson recommends doing it annually, just to get people, sort of just get them accustomed to the fact that things get more expensive each year. I mean, and you see the juxtaposition. We did this in 2018. We probably have, let's see, 94,000. We're now asking for 115. Over the course of the years, I haven't run the numbers, but it's really not that much of an increase each year. But it's easier to ask for a little rather than coming back every 5 or 6 years and asking for a larger amount. The committee struggled with, well, what's the number? What should we ask for? My view ends up being probably it does. I think I've moved on this. It probably doesn't make a difference whether you're asking for $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. It's unclear to me that if you choose 10, which is insufficient, or 16, that's just a little above your expectation, that in terms of success, it's going to make a whole lot of difference. But that's sort of unknowable. I certainly don't pretend to have a finger on the pulse of this community in connection with taxes. I know the last time we did this, we were going from the town providing 43,000 or 45,000 a year to a $95,000 ask. So we were asking for double the amount that the town was providing. And that just squeaked through. This is a small ask. But times are weird. So, but in terms of the numbers, I mean, we were really talking about $13,000 to $15,000 at the meeting we're at. And I think there was a consensus around somewhere around 14 is fine.
And you're saying with the plan to do it every other year or every year?
You don't need to make that decision. I mean, I think probably you want a message that that's where we're going, but it's sort of like you do it a year at a time. You see where you are, you see where the community is, you see what your needs are. You see how it went the last time.
If it doesn't vote it down, we definitely do. Next year.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's real close, then you'll probably have a tougher time the next year. You may have to work harder or mobilize more. If it passes easily, then you see that there's less price sensitivity. I mean, I think we'll learn from the experience and then we can make an intelligent decision. Upper Hudson is perhaps more optimistic than I am about this. I'm concerned that we won't be successful. Only because it was close last time. But that just made, that was a lot of money. It was a big change. I think the library is probably in a better place now in terms of the community than it was the last time we did it, which isn't to say we were in a bad place, but we were in an okay place. But I think probably we've done a better job in doing outreach and integrating ourselves with at least some of the other community organizations. So, I mean, what do you folks think? I think we were all sort of in the same place. Whether it was 14.5, 15.2, 13.3. I mean, my sense is we probably should ask for what we think we need, and that number was right around 15. I think it was 14.3, was it?
15.
Oh, I'm sorry. That made an impression on me, obviously.
15.2 is a 16% increase, and so if you think about that, if we had asked for a 2% increase over the last 8 years, it just sort of brings us up to what we probably should have been doing all along. Last year, the fire district had a 10% increase for the first time in a million years, but, that doesn't get voted on, it's just that it's there, so people might be, that there was a bit of an increase there, so, we've looked at some of the other numbers as well, I think that, the town tries to keep up, they had more than 2% increase last year, and I think they try to keep up with that, to understand that there's just increased expenses every year, and you can't expect that you're not gonna see that forward.
There's probably some like psychology to what number sounds better. 43.
Sounded good to me.
Yeah.
And that
It
was
sounds like a
stuck.
lot less than 15,
Uh-huh.
even though it's.
Uh-huh.
I mean, 13%, I feel like is a number that sticks in people's heads, cause it's a tipping, you know what I mean, like, it's just a number that people know and they have to, like. Is it worth the 15%? So going slightly less doesn't maybe sound awful
Mhm.
if we can work with that number. I mean, it's not too far off the 16 that we're
Mhm.
kind of looking at. I think, kind of what you were talking about, Scott, with the community seems to be utilizing, like the voter interest of who's utilizing the library seems to have increased, a bit too, to include seniors and people who would tend to say no to increases because it increases their budget, but they're utilizing the programs and they're enjoying the functions of the library, so,
Interestingly enough, our experience, you would think that, one would
You
think
would.
that. However, we did bump into people who were in the library and we were asking them to sign petitions and their response is, I'm already paying enough for everything, I'm not paying any more for this, so. It's hard to identify who might be more receptive than not.
I'm just trying to think of the voting population of like, who goes out and votes versus like a lot of younger families don't even go to the voting booth, like they just don't. Sadly,
That's-
Is that true anymore though? I feel like this past year.
there might be more interest,
I don't know
but
the
I don't know
numbers.
by the town. We'll have to see kind of.
I think that if we do a lower number, then we should definitely consider and make it more of a priority to do it than once every year. So we can
Yes.
just say, you know what, we're gonna do the 2% every year and just, that's just gonna be how it is. If the town can do it, maybe we should do it as well. And if we do a smaller, something that's lower than, a full 2% per year that we've missed, that would probably, might sound a little bit better.
Well, you could do it as I hate to say it, it's like a sales pitch of like, hey, 16% would be 16% would be the 2% every year, but we're only asking for 14, whatever, you know what I mean, like everybody loves a discount, even though it's not a discount, like I worked in retail, it's not a discount, you mark it up and then you cut it back. It's not, you're not really getting sale people, you're not. It's how it works. But I mean, like, people like the sound of a sale,
Right.
so. Consumers just, the consumer brain set is where we're functioning at, I mean, like, where's the money gonna go?
You're dealing with the unknowable. I don't
You
think.
are.
It's sort of like, my sense is that the people who support the library won't be that price sensitive. And the people who are price sensitive won't support the library. And the biggest and the most important thing we need to do is to be able to identify who will support this or is likely to support this, to keep them aware of what's going on, to identify them and get them out to vote. That's what this is about, it seems to me. It was about that last time as well. So I'm not sure that. I mean, I don't know what the right number is or the best number is, or whether it'll make any real difference. It's all sort of at the
When are
margins.
we voting?
But we should be doing it
Next month.
before next month. Well, next month,
Next month.
and next month meeting, we have to.
No, I mean, when is town voting? So
It'll be November.
November, so it's during the regular elections.
I mean, the mechanics of this are simple. We vote a resolution, we vote for the tax cap, we prepare a request for the town to put it on the ballot. You go speak to the town and tell them what you're doing. And it goes to the Board of Elections, they look at it, you have to petition, the petition's 25 now. The major point is how hard you want to work in terms of getting larger numbers of people. I thought one of the things that was useful the last time we probably gathered, we had to get, I think, 2%, it was get about 180, about 200 signatures, which is, I think, was 10% of the gubernatorial vote of the last gubernatorial election. That's my recollection. So there were about probably 1,800 votes. So I think we got about 180 or 90, and we ended up sending some sort of emails, or we might have sent postcards to people reminding them of the ballot, because they signed the petition, they seem like likely voters. So that was sort of useful. So I viewed the petitioning as a good way to beat the bushes, let the community know what's going on, and identify at least some of your stronger supporters. So I would recommend that we do more than try to get 25 signatures. Putting aside that you might want to get more than 25 signatures because, you know, well, also there people can make technical errors in terms of their addresses. You may have people who are signing who aren't residents of the town. So you know, just in any petition drive, you want to get probably more. And if you're doing 10% of 25, it's only 2 more. But I would be comfortable with just getting 27. That would be like bad.
Yeah.
So that was my thought on the numbers.
Right, so next month we have to decide on that, we have to pass the resolutions. And take a liaison with the town board, which basically, you know, I go to the meetings, monthly meetings, might not this Monday, depending on. Which one of us wants to go to the trivia meeting, which one wants to go to the town meeting. But, and so we can start to talk, I think we should start to let them know that this is what we're going to be doing, so that they're not.
Should we start, do you want me to, do you want to start bringing that up with them at this coming meeting?
I think we can, I think I would start to talk to them.
Okay. Just in,
Not necessarily at the meeting, but just.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I just think
Yeah.
it's, I mean, you know, it's just, you don't want to blindside
Right,
anybody, really.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's really not up to them, but obviously.
No,
you
just so
want-
they're aware, yeah.
You want
Yeah.
them to be aware, and-
team.
yeah, that's right, you want them
absolutely.
to be aware, and you want them to support it, so.
okay.
So to the extent that there's any resistance or whatever, you can hear it and work with them. In terms of just doing this, we can't use library funds for the advocacy part. So to the extent that we want to send mailings or do posters or whatever, then we're gonna need to figure out a way to raise money externally.
Can't we
Some-
do it though, if we're sending a postcard just saying, hey, reminder, there's a vote?
You
Does
can,
that work?
you can do educational stuff. I
Right.
mean, that doesn't, the library can provide educational information. You know, sort of like, then you have to figure out what's legitimate, what's not legitimate.
Right. I guess I'm just, my thought is if we decide to do postcards to just say, hey, the library is asking for this, the vote's on Tuesday,
Mhm.
come out and vote. We're not saying yes, vote, no vote,
Right.
but we could take that money, we could use our own money for that.
Yeah.
Kind of the thing.
You can
Whether or not we want
check
to.
outlets and it's, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But that's just one thing. I mean, some libraries have active friends groups and they worry about this and do that advocacy. We don't have that.
Did anybody have any further thoughts? I mean, it sounds like part of it is the amount that we need and part of it is what number sounds more. Friendly, yeah, appealing to people. Any other concerns? Anybody who feels like that sounds like too much, that they would prefer a more conservative approach? Is there any other concern or discussion there?
So the flip side is if it doesn't go, then we had to figure out what we need to cut. Because we'll have a shortfall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the reality for 2026 is that we'll have to be.
And we're sort of in the same place we were in 2018. Same deal, It's sort of like if we can't get the additional $40,000. Hours will be reduced and services will decrease and, we'll continue to raise money, but. We don't think our fundraising, our fundraising has been predictable and it's been okay.
Mhm.
But chances are, absent some new way to raise money, we're not gonna have a whole lot more than we're doing currently.
Can we say that in our campaign? Like, would it hurt to say, if we don't get this increase, we may have to take a hard look at.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's,
think
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's,
Yeah,
the-
that-
that's the way these are
Yeah.
presented. It's sort of
Yeah.
like, these are the services we provide, this is what we're confronting.
Mhm.
This is, it's not like we've been. Basically, the vast majority of our operating expenses is staff and just building. We've deferred maintenance on the building and now we've actually saving money for stuff and doing a better job as stewards of the building and. But it's just like, it won't be news to anyone that things are getting more expensive. Because everyone experiences that. Well, I know how to bring things to a grinding halt.
Yeah, you get the money aspect, that's always the fun stuff. Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
So-
before you go on, I'll just say I'll prepare it. I've already prepared all this stuff.
Mhm.
We'll circulate it in the next package. See the resolution to increase the 2%, see the resolution. It's really just at that point, it's filling in the numbers.
Mhm.
Fact, it sort of looks just like. Yeah, the ballot proposition is, shall the annual contribution of the town of Steventown for the operating budget of the Steventown Memorial Library be increased by X dollars to the sum of Y dollars per money annually. That's what you'll see on the budget, that on the ballot.
Okay.
It's really weird to say it too. Just like a weird way to phrase it, but that's what they do. Now I'm done.
All right, so thank you, Scott. So be prepared for May, well, that'll be a large topical meeting.
Everyone should write their number on a little piece of paper. We can open it up.
Do I hear? I feel like it's gonna be 14, I feel like that's just becoming too much of
Great.
one thing, just to Liz, to finish that thought that you were saying too about, in terms of the messaging. One thing is, with the ask that we're doing, you're not necessarily doing what some of the libraries in Upper Hudson have done, which is. This increase means we will have, additional hours, or we'll have this. It's really just to bring us up to current costs.
Right.
So our messaging is that.
This was
and
the
then
information.
Potential for cuts versus
Right,
the potential for more.
And
yeah, that's the
increase.
case.
Yeah.
That's what we did the last time.
Oh.
And you sent that out to people or it was here for pick like?
It's a good question. I don't think we sent it out. I think we distributed it. I think probably when we were petitioning.
Yeah.
We handed it out. I don't think we mailed that.
Okay.
All right, anybody have any new business? We've got old business, which is the bylaw change that we talked about last time. So, per review from Ember. The two changes that we needed to make. Kim has highlighted them here. We need to state the current complement. Of the board
I
is
like that.
9.
Compliment to the board.
That's Tim.
Like a murder of crows.
Is 9 trustees, and then, Article 6, that a simple majority of seated trustees shall constitute a quorum.
As opposed to a majority of simple trustees.
So nobody's standing, so we had a quorum. So
Yes.
All right, so can I get a motion to approve the bylaw changes?
I will motion to.
Thank you, Liz, and a second.
I'll second
Scott
that.
seconded. All, or any comment, question? All right, all in favor? All right, should pass.
So we're gonna change this October.
A motion
And-
to adopt the changes, about the.
Think so. Sounds good to me.
And I'll get that up as soon as I can. Once the website's working again.
All right, again, there's no public, no correspondence that I'm aware of. Everybody saw the change, the announcement of the new Upper Hudson director.
Very good. I saw his presentation, he seemed pretty good.
He seems a really nice guy, nice person.
Uh-huh.
I think he'll be fun.
Mhm.
And both the candidates were good. They were a little different.
Mhm.
They presented, each had advantages. But I think Chris is real good. I think hopefully Judith will stay on.
Mhm.
And he's-
I would hope that she would stay on, she's a huge asset to that.
yes,
place.
she's really good, really smart.
Is there, how's the new replacement for Rodden for IT stuff?
So there's not a replacement for Rodden. Rodden,
Got sucked back in as a fun.
he's still a consultant, so he's actually gonna do the work with us to move all of that.
Okay.
All the equipment for the children's room. But I mean, Robin and Joe are the ones who have been there for years and worked with Robin, so but whenever they have issues, they just call him and. You know, he still is able to advise and stuff, so,
Okay. For day-to-day stuff though, there's.
oh yeah, they're great. They're great.
We noticed that the computers are not connecting automatically to the Wi-Fi network. So
Okay.
Cheryl today was a little stumped. But I noticed it the other day when we came into work as well. It's not connecting to the public network. It's not connecting to any. And this computer, at the end of the day, when they were having the problem, was about to shut down before the library was closed. You know, it does those shutdown. things.
Yes, okay,
So
so it's
just
not
mentioning
connecting
that.
automatically to Wi-Fi. Shutting down in there.
So is it the recent thing?
It wasn't, did you use a computer out there?
It's not it's not.
Yeah, it's not ours,
It's
it's
not
not
the
the
Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi,
it's
it's
the
the
computer.
computer, it's like, it's like
Okay.
not automatically connecting.
For clarifying.
Oh. And then our fax too, we need to have that looked at, fax machine operating. Okay, I'll send out some emails tomorrow about all that stuff.
Thank you. All right, anything else? All right, 2 meetings and it's only a little after 8:15.
And we did it at a
Whoa,
meeting,
yeah, I know, not
which I
bad.
came late to. I'm sorry.
All right, motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion.
all right. Second.
Second.
All right, thank you, everybody.
We do need to vote on this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there.
Oh, yeah, that.
18.
And